I had one day before I turned 21, then I could leave the hellhole I called pack and live as a lone wolf. At 18, wolves are considered adults, but lone wolves are a rarity, as living without the ties of a pack can drive a wolf to insanity. Our laws prohibit wolves under the age of 21 from living solitary lives to keep the rogue population in check. Tomorrow, Rena, you and I will leave this hell and find a real home. I stroked the fur of the stray black wolf that became my friend a year ago. What are you doing lazying about? A sharp voice cut into the serene air behind the pack house. Do we keep you here to waste our air? I hurried to my feet as Felicity approached me. You article of no commercial value. My face snapped to the side and I stumbled as her palm connected with my left cheek in a resounding slap. I am on my break. Indignation rang in my tone as I cradled my cheek. I deserve to rest after working nonstop for 12 hours. Another slap cut me off. This filthy *TCH. She screamed, red in the face. How dare you talk back at me? She stepped closer but paused when Rena growled low in her throat. Rena, back off, I warned my friend. She had suffered enough cruel torture for my sake, yet every time I pushed her to leave, she came back to me. Unlike me, Rena was an ordinary wolf and not a shifter. I could not tell if she understood me when I told her to leave the pack, to find somewhere else, or to stay in hiding. She always stood beside me, and it always ended in her getting hurt. You and this your stupid mutt, Felicity grumbled, eyeing Rena who kept growling, the intensity of the sound rising the more time passed. Whatever, she rolled her eyes, pretending the sounds coming from Rena's throat didn't terrify her. I am reporting you to my father. With that, she brushed past me, her shoulder hitting me hard enough to make me stumble. Rena, no. Without looking back, I knew what would happen next. Rena charged at Felicity, claws sinking into her arm as the other girl tried to shift. Get off her. You'll get in trouble. My eyes scanned the place. I couldn't hear anything, but with the scent of blood rising in the air, people would soon be here. Rena, I cried in a voice choked with emotions. Please, if she could understand me, she showed no sign. She fought Felicity like a rabid dog. The alpha's daughter shifted to her brown wolf, but she lacked the murderous intent to combat Rena, who fought like a crazy animal ready to kill. Felicity. A voice thundered from behind me. Turning, I faced Cade as he ran over to the battling wolves. 2 others came with him, and they separated the fight in seconds. What did you do? The expression on Cade's face made me gulp, cowering backwards. He glared at me with red eyes, taking a step forward while I stepped back again. Cade, Felicity cried with a wretched sniffle as a man put his coat over her. She set that violent wolf on me. She pointed a shaky finger in my direction. That's not what happened. She bumped into me on purpose and Rena defended. I jumped to argue for my friend. Enough. I flinched at the icy venom in those words. Why can you not stay a day without causing trouble? He growled in my face. What will you gain from hurting Felicity? He put a hand around his sister, hugging her to his side. I would say something in my defense, but no one ever believed me. My words held no water against Felicity's. In truth, if he came to see her pummeling me to the ground with only a scratch on her face, it would be my fault. Felicity was the precious daughter of the Alpha and a beloved member of the pack, while I was the wretched Omega daughter of the Beta, the wicked child that killed her mother. These treatments were not new to me. I spent all my life trying to earn their love, but now, I gave up. Their hurtful words did not faze me anymore. After dealing with them for 21 years, one last day meant nothing to me. I am sorry. I bowed my head, fighting back the tears that threatened to spill from my eyes. The entirety of Silver Moon had seen enough of my tears. They didn't deserve the satisfaction of seeing me broken one last time. Be sorry for the wolf you just killed. My blood ran cold at those words spoken with hostility and hard eyes. Chop off its head. He gave the command to the men standing at alert behind him. No, not Rena. It was my mistake. I screamed, unable to hold back the tears as I heard Rena's whines. 2 hefty men pulled my friend away while she fought. It was my mistake. I tried to run after them, to help Rena with my useless hands, but Cade stopped me. Stay. The command of an alpha was impossible to disobey for any wolf under their command. When Cade spoke in his alpha voice, my body complied, forcing me to a standstill. Please, she is the only one I have. I promise. I promise I will never cause any trouble again. We will never cause any trouble if you... I begged, my legs locked underneath me. Shut up. You are giving me a headache, he snapped, pushing his hair out of his face while holding Felicity, who pretended to be hurt. The injuries on her arms were knitting themselves together thanks to her alpha blood, but she breathed harshly through her mouth in pretense. Your punishment will be decided later, he said. Felicity raised her head a fraction to smirk at me before going back to her limp position in her brother's arms. I gave you numerous chances to get rid of that dog, but you kept it. Her blood is on your hands. I looked down at my trembling hands as he walked away, leaving me with those words that weighed heavy and crushed my soul. My friend's distant howl echoed in my ears and unfroze my legs. I trembled from head to toe as I ran, following the pungent scent of blood that belonged to my only companion. Unfortunately, I bumped into my superior as I rounded a corner. There you are. She grabbed my hand. Your 30 minutes break ended 10 minutes ago. What are you still doing out here? As she spoke, she pulled me with her. Never mind that. There is a lot that needs to be done, or have you forgotten we will be receiving guests from tonight? She took my hand and stirred me back into the pack house. Ma'am. I tried shaking her off, but her grip on my hand was like iron. She lost her temper when I tried to shake her loose the second time. There is no time for your drama. She snapped, all forms of niceties evaporating from her tone. We have too much to be done in preparation for tomorrow's handover. If you don't behave yourself, I will have to call the beta, she threatened, wagging a finger in my face. But my friend, I looked in the direction where I heard Rena's howls. I expected Beta Maria to understand how I felt in this situation, as she was the only one in this pack to show any bit of affection for me. She may be stern and focused on work all the time, but she showed me empathy from time to time. I hoped this would be one of those times. That wolf is dead, she snapped, putting her hands on her hips. Do you want to follow after it? She demanded, her eyes sparkling with impatience. If you want to keep your head, you must get back to work. Cade is about to become our alpha. Tomorrow will usher in a new dawn for the Silver Moon pack. We must all do our work except you want to offend the incumbent alpha and his Luna, she warned me. I nodded in understanding, but I did not understand. Not fully. Why could I not mourn my friend who I just lost because I had to plan a party for someone I hated? If you abandon your duties, you will suffer more, and I am sure that Wolf would not like that. Maria patted my shoulder. Keep her in your heart and mourn her later. Right now, you must attend to your duties. It was easy for her to advise me in a situation she had no experience of. How easy it was for her to tell me to postpone my mourning and continue my duties as a slave for a pack that never valued my hard work. All my life, I bent over backwards for this pack, hoping that one day they would see my sacrifices and appreciate me. I gave up everything, my person and dignity, to please these people, but the only thing they did was take more than I could give, strip me bare and punish me for crimes I did not commit. My Rena died for nothing. My heart ached. Pain crushed me from the inside while I went to the laundry room to continue my work as the slave of this pack. Despite my father being the beta of this pack, they never allowed me any luxury. I lived from hand to mouth for as long as I remembered, living as an orphan slave despite my living father's high status. For the next 7 hours, I had to iron the sheets and take them up to the guest rooms. My tears splattered against more than one bedsheet as I lay the bed in more than 20 rooms in preparation for the arrival of the guests invited to celebrate Cade's succession as alpha. The longer I worked, the more tears fell from my eyes. My limbs were tired, but my sorrow and grief fueled my work. The weight on my chest suffocated me, and I felt the need to run, to leave everything behind and never look back. Yet the fear of turning rogue made me continue working. Until I was old enough to survive as a lone wolf, I stood a high risk of turning feral if I left my pack. I changed the last sheets after midnight and made my way downstairs to my room on legs that wobbled. By 4 a.m., less than 4 hours from now, Maria expected me in the kitchen to join the preparations for the pack's breakfast. Upon entering my dark and clustered room, I met Cade half sprawled on my bed with a pinched expression. What are you doing here? I stood at the doorway with the door ajar and my heart in my throat. Close the door, his gruff voice commanded as he stood, his head almost touching my ceiling. For my 18th birthday, my father kicked me out of his mansion. It was something he wanted to do since the day I was born, but could not until I was old enough. After that, I moved to a cubicle in the pack house, a small room with only a tiny window and no lighting at the back of the pack house. I have stayed here for the past 3 years, but tomorrow, with my little savings, I would be out of this pack forever. No, today. The midnight clock in the leisure room already struck midnight 30 minutes ago. What are you doing here? I asked Cade again, making no move to close the door. I didn't want to be trapped in such a small room with this maniac. He walked over to me and caught me around my waist as I contemplated running off. It would buy me a minute, but I could never outrun Cade. He pulled me into the room and shut the door. Why are your things packed? He asked in a quiet, dangerous voice that had my heart galloping. What did he want from me this time? He rejected me already. He killed my friend a few hours ago. When would he leave me alone? With all due respect, that is none of your business. Why are you in my room? I asked as I stepped away from his looming figure while goosebumps exploded on my skin. Sahana. His tone held a warning that made me shiver. Were you planning on running away? His nostrils flared as he crossed his arms. A cold sweat broke out all over me. My hands trembled. My lips trembled. Every part of me trembled. On my 18th birthday, not only did I have to deal with the misfortune of homelessness, I also found out I was mated to the biggest SSHL asterisk on the planet, the Alpha's son. While I was too worried about my status and how to please my father, a small part of me still held out hope to find my mate. Never in a million years would I have expected to be mated to someone as cruel as Cade. He did not want me, and I did not want him, so the minute he found out we were mates, he rejected me. I accepted his rejection, and bore the sharp pain of a broken mate bond with the calm satisfaction that I would not have to spend the rest of my life with a man that beat me and spat on me to amuse his friends. Cade bullied me since we were kids. As the beta's daughter and the alpha's son, the pack always put us together. In a lot of cases, the alpha and beta's children were best friends who ended up taking over from their parents together. In my case, I ended up a hated omega. My earliest memory was of 5-year-old me getting shoved face first into the mud by a laughing 6-year-old Cade. He never liked me and I never liked him, but he had a bad habit. He considered everything and everyone as his property. What do you want from me? I asked in a bitter tone, glaring at his feet. Why would this man not leave me alone? I suffered enough at his hands already. What did I tell you the day you rejected me? He asked, taking a step towards me. I stepped backwards but ended up against the door. You rejected me, I emphasized to jog his memory. I don't know what you want, but I have to sleep now. Please leave. I sidestepped him. Or I tried to. A hairy hand landed on the door beside me, blocking me in. Do you think you can be rid of me? He snorted, amusement sparkling in his eyes. In a few hours, I will become the alpha. You're alpha. Do you think I will let you leave the pack because you are old enough? He snorted again. I am old enough to leave. There is nothing you can do about it now. I bristled, raising my chin to look up at him. For once, I didn't want him to intimidate me. Sahana, take off your top. The command made me stiffen. I clenched my fists at my sides while my hands shook, fighting the alpha's command at all costs. Now, my willpower broke. My hands, as if having a mind of their own, reached for the hem of my shirt, raised it, and pulled it over my head. Do you still think there is nothing I can do? He leaned into me, his nose running against the base of my neck as I fought down tears. I have not even succeeded my father, yet you can't resist my command. He chuckled, his words reverberating against my skin. There were still a few hours left for Cade to receive full control of the pack, yet he wielded power over me like this. By the time he became the sitting alpha, would I still be able to leave? Could it be too late? It is such a pity you are an Omega. He ran his finger down my face, his body too close for comfort. You have a nice body. I would have enjoyed breeding you, but I can't risk having dirty Omega pups like you. He opened his mouth and puffed a breath against my face, one of his hands going down to my waist. What do you want from me? I closed my eyes against the disgust crawling through my skin. You rejected me. You hate me, but still. Why do you keep torturing me? I bit out, turning my face away from his breath. If only I wasn't a darn Omega. If only I had power, any power. At that point, I wanted nothing more than to be powerful enough to fight the alpha's command. I would not win, but if I was an alpha, my wolf would not obey all commands without room for protest. Who says I hate you? His hand rubbed my thigh, riding up my skirt. You rejected me, and you have bullied me all my life. I flinched away from his touch, pushing his hand from my thigh, but he gripped me. Just let me go. I won't bother you anymore. You are an Omega. What did you expect? That an alpha would take an Omega as a mate? Do you think I want Omega pups? Do you think I want my bloodline tainted with yours? He sneered in my face, his hand running up and down my thigh, caressing me. What will I gain from letting you go? Who will satisfy me when the moon is at her peak? He nuzzled his face into my neck. The moon was at her peak tonight. Because of him, I got nervous about every full moon. He did this nonsense to me 2 years ago, and a part of me hoped it was the first and last time I would ever be subjected to something so vile. Go to Avalon. I'm sure she will be more than willing to accommodate you. I closed my eyes when his hips stuttered against me. Bile rose in my throat as I felt his erection straining against my waist. My skin tightened, and a burning sensation started in my throat. The urge to run, to flee, and never look back overwhelmed me, but he gripped my thigh tighter. It is a full moon. Ava cannot help me tonight. Only you can, and you know that. He sniffed my skin, from the back of my ear to my collarbone, and then between my breasts. I went as stiff as a board as he ran his nose against my skin. The full moon affected him in a way that did not affect me. I didn't know if his status as an alpha heightened his senses, but the connection between us broke when he rejected me, and I accepted the rejection, so I felt nothing when the full moon came around. On his part, Cade went into rut. The first time it happened 2 years ago, he sought me out to kiss me and rut against me until the moon went down. Since then, every full moon, dread clawed at my throat as I did not know what to expect. The incident never repeated itself until today. That day, I spent hours in the bathroom scrubbing my skin for 2 reasons. I felt dirty, and no matter how much I scrubbed, the sensation of worms on my skin did not let off. The other reason was that he had a girlfriend who would kill me if she caught his scent on me. I stopped his hand when he reached behind me for my bra strap. No. I shook my head with the feeling of maggots against my skin. I don't want this. This will relieve the both of us. Why are you resisting? He muttered, his eyes falling to my lips. I was too late in pressing them together. His descended on mine, but I stayed as still as I could. I taught you to kiss me back, didn't I? He mumbled through his teeth as he pulled back. What is it? Is it because of your dog? Something had to be done about that mutt. Anyway. His flippant tone tightened my heart. Now kiss me. I turned my head away as his lips descended. He let out a frustrated growl. Do you not want to be relieved of your heat? He snarled. I am not asking for much here. He snapped. My tongue glued to the roof of my mouth, but I shook my head still. His pride never let him believe I did not go into heat. He must have thought all these years that I writhed in pain every full moon waiting for his touch, but whatever he felt during full moons, I did not feel them. We broke our bond, so I could not go into heat for him. I don't want this. I pulled his hand from my thigh. Leave me alone. Fine, he snarled, pushing away from me. It does not mean anything anyway. He snagged my shirt off the ground. But have it at the back of your mind that you will never leave this pack. He spat before he left, slamming my door loud enough to wake the house. My suffering started from my birth. My birth had been inauspicious. I'd been 32 weeks in the belly when my mother went into labor on a Friday, the 13th day of the month. On the day I was born, a storm started from nowhere and ravaged the pack, uprooting trees and destroying houses and businesses. Of course, that day was marked as a cursed day, a day of ill omen for the pack. Throughout that day, my mother tried to push me out despite me not being due for at least another 6 weeks. The doctors had been preparing to cut her open after a long day of excruciating labor when I came out at almost midnight. My mother died after my first cry, and it was settled from then on. I was the ill omen. It didn't help that the storm calmed at midnight. It may have been a coincidence, but what did it matter? I was born on an ominous day, and then I killed my mother. My father lost his mate because of me, and even as a child, he never let me go for long without the reminder that he hated my existence. I cost him his mate, the most precious being to him on the planet. To him, I fought too hard to be born, and because I was born in Omega, he told me I had no reason to be alive. I was always small for my age, timid and weak. While other children hit their milestones at the right time, everything about me was delayed. I could not walk until I was 3 and had difficulty speaking until I turned 5. My existence disgraced my father, a renowned beta of a powerful pack. When he looked at me, I saw anger and hatred in his eyes even before I knew what those emotions were. I remember once, as a child, after going weeks without seeing my father, he returned from a trip and I ran to hug him. Tears gathered in my eyes when I remembered how hard he shoved me away from him that day. Since the beta had no regard for me, no one in the pack paid me any attention. My mother was a beloved member of the pack, and even as a child, I had to endure the hands pointing me out as the useless and cursed child that took her life. Why were the circumstances surrounding my birth unlucky? Why did I have to be born if I had no relevance to my family and my pack? People would whisper and sneer at me, and my teachers who used to be my mother's colleagues would frown sternly at me. All the time, I had to live with the knowledge that I was bad luck and not worth being born. I tried all my life to prove my value, to show my pack that I was not worthless, but now, the desire to prove myself to people who did not have any affection for me was gone. Silver Moon did not need me any more than I needed them. I had to leave this place before Cade could stop me. All the things I packed, the little possessions I acquired throughout my life, I would have to leave them behind to move quickly. I opened my purse that was stuffed deep inside my ratty handbag, but what I saw made me blink twice. No, there was no way this was happening to me. He can't do that. Goddess, let this not be real. I ransacked my bag, ripped apart the compartments of the purse, turned my bag and shook out its content, but nothing. My savings were gone. No way. I started to scatter my packed bags. Sweat dripped down my face as I moved around the room, overturning things. I searched under the bed, in the holes of my torn carpet, the bags I packed but now unpacked. I checked my pockets, my shoe, everything in that small place, but I knew where I left the money, but it was not there anymore. Cade, you be *SD*RD. I choked down a sob as I continued to check everything. I searched for hours, until 3 in the morning, I was searching for my lost savings, but deep down, I knew the money was gone. He took it. The realization was something I did not want to acknowledge. It crushed my soul to admit that all the money I gathered for over a year to leave this hell had been taken by that *SD*RD. What should I do? I paced my room. Without a doubt, he would not give it back to me. 100 thoughts sped through my mind. I could steal it back from him, or make a fuss in public until he gave it back. None of that would work. My back hit the ground as I fell with a sob wrenching from the deepest part of my being. Why would this man continue to torture me like this? I had never done anything to offend him. I never did anything wrong to these people, and I never meant to kill my mother. What did I do to deserve this cruel treatment? I have to get out of here. I could not allow myself to wallow in self-pity. Continuing to cry now would not solve any of my problems. Cade had my money, and he would never give it back. Did I want to stay here until I made more money to leave? You will never leave this pack. I stuffed clothes into my handbag in a hurry. It would be stupid to delay now. I had to get out of this pack no matter what. Whether or not I had money did not matter at this point. What did was that I left this hellish pack and stayed hidden long enough for my bond to the pack to break. To the east of Silver Moon was No Man's Land. If I managed to cross out of this pack to No Man's Land, I would be in Blue Blood Pack lands in a few days. From there, I could leave for the human territory a few miles from them. I did not have the money to board a train or book a flight, but I had a wolf to run. I hefted the bag over my shoulder and crept out of the pack house. In an hour's time, the other workers would start to wake to prepare for Cade's succession. I would have to shift and run as fast as I could before anyone noticed my absence. As today would be a busy day, I hoped no one past Maria would notice my absence. In fact, I prayed no one noticed my absence, especially not him. Asina, my wolf, ran as fast as her legs could manage. We leapt over branches and twigs, fueled by the urgent need to escape, but a low, wretched howl made us slow down. Asina stumbled on her feet as she skidded to a halt when we heard that howl again. What is that? I asked my wolf. Her ears perked up as she listened for the sound again. An animal is hurt. It sounds like an ordinary wolf. She pawed the ground in unease. The need to flee beat at us, but ignoring that wretched cry for help was not an option. Could it be Rena? I asked. My wolf shook her head. She would know Rena's scent better than me, not just because she had better senses than me, but because I used to shift in my free time to play with Rena in my wolf form. It is not Rena, but we can still check it out. Despite her unease, Asina's large heart, as always, made her put someone else before herself. We agreed to check it out, and my wolf bounded over to the direction of the sound. My heart ached when I saw the condition of the wolf. It looked as if it had been abandoned by its pack, and ended up being attacked in its weakened state. I would like to know what attacked it, but I had no means of communicating with ordinary wolves. Even Asina did not understand the language of non-shifter wolves. I shifted as I approached the wolf whimpering on the ground. I noticed the blood oozing from its wounds the closer I got. The sheer quantity of blood pooling around it made me nervous. I approached with caution, careful of spooking the injured wolf, but it was too feeble to move. Squatting, I pulled clothes from my bag to put pressure on the bleeding, but nothing I had could wrap around such a big wolf. In a panic, I pressed my hands against the biggest injury. My hands met open flesh and gooey blood that made my stomach churn. The wolf is going to die, Asina said in my head. His injuries are fatal. Despite not knowing this wolf, the thought of losing it made my heart ache. After losing Rena, I stared helplessly again. I pressed my hand harder into the wolf's injury. Asina, what can we do? I asked my wolf. The weight of everything that happened in the past 24 hours crushed me. I did not know this wolf, but I could not leave it to die. Something like a jolt of electricity passed through me. The tingling sensation made me take a step back, then I noticed the bright light in the darkness of the night surrounding the forest. My hands were emitting a bright white light, like a bulb. What is this? I screamed in my heart palpitations almost driving me mad. Why am I glowing? I slapped my hands together to put out the eerie light, but nothing happened. This, Asina whispered in awe. I can't be certain, but it feels, this is the healing light. What is the healing light? I kept clapping my hands together in a bid to turn off the lights, but I only succeeded in hurting my palms. Put your hands on the wolf. Excitement rang in my wolf's usual dead voice. I am certain this is the healing light. I put my hands on the wolf like she instructed, and to my horror and amazement, the light encompassed the wolf, covering it and brightening until I had to close my eyes against the blinding white light. Still, the light penetrated and hurt my eyes. It went out as fast as it came, the light dying and leaving behind the blanket of darkness. I peeked my eyes open slowly. Looking down at the wolf, I saw it as stiff and quiet. Did I kill it? Oh, it's asleep. I placed a hand on its fur matted with blood. I have to go now, and I hope you don't feel I abandoned you when you wake up. I pressed a kiss to its eyelids and stood on shaky legs. It felt as if the light zapped out my energy, and with the thought, healing light, I staggered to my feet. I had power. The thought made my knees jerk underneath me, so I shoved it to the back of my mind. Satisfied that the wolf won't die, I focused my attention on leaving Silver Moon. I could not afford to dwell on my discovery or to wait for people to notice my absence. Stop right there. An unfamiliar voice boomed in the darkness, making me turn like a robot. 2 men had guns trained on me when I turned. My head smacked to the side from the heavy blow my father dealt me. His eyes darkened with anger as he glared down at me. Where did you think you were going? He spat with his eyes red and his hands crossed. Did you plan to disgrace me on such an important day? He grabbed me by my collar and shook me until my teeth chattered. I am old enough to leave today. I gritted out, spitting out blood from the injury his blow caused. Or did you forget your own child's birthday? I sneered at him. My tone earned me another resounding smack that had me wobbling on my feet. You are no child of mine, he spat at me. No child of mine would put me through all you have put me through. He snarled. From his words, one would think he had been the one to suffer the abuse of an entire pack. A passerby hearing his words would think I used to beat him, waking him up with a belt on his back in the middle of the night. Someone who did not know our family would think I was the one who used to call him names. They would think I called him a monster, good for nothing, B***tch, nonentity, and other unsavory words. Yes, I resigned myself to being fatherless years ago. I closed my eyes and sank to my knees, which were unable to hold me up for much longer. I spent all these years trying to please my father, to make him look at me and see someone worth loving, to smile at me even once. All my life, I wanted a father. I would have been happy with a smile. One kind word would have lifted my spirits, but my father was kind to everyone except me. If I am not your daughter, how can I bring disgrace to you? My heart bled as I looked down at my shaky hands. Tears stung my eyes, but I refused to cave into my emotions to cry. Exhaustion swarmed me all of a sudden, overwhelming me. Don't you dare talk back at me. He pointed a threatening finger at my face. I have lost so much for you, and your existence is still costing me. He screamed. His red face would frighten me any other day, but at that point, with dawn upon us, I could not muster any more emotions. Leaving Silver Moon had been my consolation for the past 18 months. Every slap I endured, every kick, every insult, and every spit on my face, I reminded myself that it would not be for long. The only consolation I had in this wretched pack was the thought of the freedom that awaited me at the end of the borders. An hour ago, 2 men pointed guns at me. I heard the sounds of the guns cocking as they aimed at my head. Throughout my life, I faced death a number of times, but today was the first time I stared in the face of death, and he stared right back with the face of a gun. Terror chilled my blood, and a cold sweat broke out on my skin. I could do nothing as they approached me and put me in handcuffs like a fugitive, leading me back to the pack house. Cade, that be *ST**RD. Leaving a pack was not a crime as long as the wolf was old enough. At 21, I was old enough to decide to leave these people. Why did he have to make me a criminal for doing something everyone had the right to? Goddess, why was I faced with such a cruel life? Did I have to suffer all these till I dropped dead? Would I be tied down in this pack forever, or would I manage to escape only to wake up one day with my face plastered on various doors as a wanted criminal of the Silver Moon pack? I wish you were never born. My father spat those words and turned to leave me behind. In the dungeons, for the simple act of exercising my right as a wolf shifter. I wish I was never born too. At that moment, not existing would be so much better than existing in these conditions. You have no right to say that when my mate died birthing your useless *SS. My father pulled me from the floor by my collar. my dress ripping a bit as he raised me. Who taught you to be ungrateful? He hissed in my face. His putrid breath made me hold my breath. Happy birthday to you, Sahana. I fell back to the floor like a bag of rotten potatoes when my father let me go. I could not have a mate, and I could not reject said mate. My existence was worthless, but I could not admit that. This pack did not need me, but I could not leave this pack. My life was a constant paradox, absurd and contradictory at every phase. When my father left, I was able to breathe freely again. Of all the people who used me, beat me, and abused me, my father was one of the few that could make breathing difficult for me, as fear suffocated me. He could look in my face from a distance, and my breath would stop while my feet froze to the ground. Did I not warn you? Cade entered after my father exited. Did I not tell you there is no escaping? His presence filled the room and his anger *CK**D out the air. Asina whimpered at the waves of anger rolling off her alpha. I am old enough to leave. I cried without meaning to. You all are crazy, cruel bastards for keeping me here against my will. I pressed the pad of my palms into my eye sockets as tears fell freely from my eyes. I told you not to leave, but you dared disobey me. He stepped further into the room, pushing his hair out of his face. The dark circles around his eyes put me aback for a second, but I shook my head. That was his business. You have no rights over me anymore. I have a right to leave if I please, I snapped. Last night was awful for me. He eyed me up and down. I wished every day, every night, and every minute of his life was awful. But since you rejected me and had the time to run off, I am thinking it was not for you. We broke the mate bond. Why do you think I would go into heat for you? A bit of satisfaction lightened the weight on my chest when I felt his unease despite his face remaining blank. A small part of me broke when I realized I was to be mated to someone as distasteful as Cade, and the rejection crushed my heart. Sometimes it hurt seeing him with Avalon or the other girls he cheated on her with. He never seemed to experience any pain after the severance of our mate bond, but looking at his face now, I knew better. I never thought I wanted him broken for what he did to me, but looking at him then, I felt satisfaction knowing he suffered because of what he did to me. Even though his suffering was small and incomparable to my suffering. You are lying, he said to me, his inflated ego unable to handle the truth. I did not want him. No part of me did. I don't care what you say, but I know you are lying. For now, I have a handing over to attend. Until then, I expect you to do your duty to this pack as the worthless slave that you are. Clean, cook, and serve. That is the only thing you are good for. If you even think, he stepped closer to me. If it even crosses your mind to run away from this pack ever again, I will make sure you know misery as you have never known. He stared at me, his darkening eyes filled with hatred. He let me see what he would do to me, to see he was not in any way joking. Goddess, I hated the whole of Silver Moon, but I had a special place in my heart for hating this man, right next to the corner I kept for my father. One day, you will look back on how you treated me, and you will regret it, but by then, it will be too late, I vowed, feeling a foreign heat tightening my chest. What am I supposed to regret? Helping an Omega learn her place, or providing a slave for my pack? He snorted. How will you make me regret anything? You are just a worthless Omega with a scrawny wolf. I looked down at my hands as he left. You will regret this. Are you done *CK**ing? I crossed my arms, leaning against the doorframe. Holy hell. My beta sprang away from the little blonde writhing underneath him. Can't you knock? He pulled up his pants in a hurry, and his latest fling held her dress against her front. My bad. You sounded like you were done. I walked into the office and took a seat. We have business to discuss. This business could not wait for me to finish? Aristo hissed, flinging the girl's underwear at her. No. The girl still cowered to my right, so I turned to face her. How old are you? She had a soft and round face, fair skin, and barely legal stamped all over her. I am 20 years old, Alpha. Her hands holding her dress shivered as she answered me with her head downcast and blonde hair falling to cover her face. Hey, didn't you tell me you were 22? Aristo asked in a high tone. Aristo would be the perfect beta if he did not think through his C***CK half the time. He chased skirt at every opportunity, and I liked to remind him women would be his downfall. If I castrated him. Try again, I growled at the quivering girl. A bit of pressure on her windpipes, and she would have a good reason to quiver. I am telling you the truth. I am 20, the girl answered, her knuckles white against the dress she held to her front. So why did you lie to me? My beta demanded, stepping closer to the girl and forcing her chin up. You are lying. I crossed my legs. Let me ask one more time. How old are you? 18. I turned 18 yesterday. She cried in a sudden loud voice. I am sorry. Please, she fell on her knees, hunched over with her forehead on the ground. You, Aristo spluttered, his mouth falling open. Leave us, I commanded. Yes, Alpha. She flew up and ran out of the office as fast as her short legs could carry her. Bitches these days. Aristo grumbled, falling into a seat with his forearm blocking his eyes. She pursued me for weeks, knowing she was a child. His lips pursed. He muttered different curses underneath his breath for a full minute after that. After over a decade, I had come to accept Aristo even with his flaws, but I lived daily with the knowledge I may have to get a new beta as the one I had currently would be finished in a couple of years' time. He was loyal, reliable, and a machine on the battlefield, but he could never turn away when he saw T**TS or a nice *SS. Have you thought about cutting off your D**CK? I asked him. The B*ST*RD jerked, cupping his jewels with both his palms. You will be less trouble if you did not have a bigger C*CK than a brain. You think I have a big C*CK? His grin fell when I glared at him. With all the work you give me, the least you can do is allow me to enjoy the warmth of a tight, wet P*SSY. Don't be crude. My nostrils wrinkled. Don't be stuck up, care. He barked. When last did you get laid? A week ago? A month ago? You are sending people scampering away because of the waves of frustration always pouring off you. If I slash your throat right here, all my frustration will be gone. I press my fingers together. I did not give you this office to F*CK 18-year-olds in. You are supposed to be working here. Killing may be fun, but you know it can never be as interesting as a woman's body. There are so many ways to screw a woman's brains out, but killing is. There are 1,000 ways to end a man. You are the one who is too stupid to learn more than one. Whatever. At least I F*CK better than you. He rolled his eyes. What did you want anyway? Aristo's love for women and their bodies sidetracked me from my business in his office, but then I remembered why I came here in the first place. I gnashed my teeth as I recollected the letter that just arrived at my desk, fantasizing about slamming my beta's head against a jagged rock. Why did I receive a letter thanking me for agreeing to attend some alpha's handoff? I demanded, cracking my stiff knuckles. That alpha is Alpha Warren of Silvermoon Pack. He will be handing over the pack to his son in a few days, and we will be attending. He pumped a fist into the air with a stupid grin and cheered. No, I will not be attending. What is the meaning of this nonsense? My voice lowered, almost becoming inaudible. As my beta, you are supposed to handle this business. Yes, but you have been an alpha for over 5 years, yet you refuse to attend any meeting outside the pack. It is not good for your image, and as your beta, making sure you have a good image is my priority. The B*ST*RD replied in a flippant tone. I did not blame him for such insubordination. I blamed the lax hand I dealt him. No one on this planet would speak to me the way Aristo spoke to me. If any man dared challenge my words, they met their ancestors faster than they could apologize. Before you murder me, please listen. He sighed, leaning back into his seat. You are the alpha of the most successful pack on the planet. Alpha Blood has seen a 20% overall increase since you took over, but it is not enough. On rare occasions, when Aristo was not thinking with his C*CK, he had some sensible ideas. I listened to him as much as I could, but it did not mean we agreed on a lot. He was beside me when I slaughtered the previous leaders of Alpha Blood and took over, and over the years, he earned my respect, but sometimes, he annoyed me by simply breathing. Like now. It is not enough that I have improved the pack? What nonsense did he have in mind now? No, people are terrified of you to death, he exclaimed. And the fact that people do not even know what you look like means there are cold and vicious rumors about you. As an alpha, fear was an effective tool for ruling. Dealing with trouble with an iron fist meant people thought twice before they dared take a step out of place. It saved me a lot of trouble with transition in government after I was done extermination, all those who wronged me. Why did I need to change my reputation? I knew what they called me within and outside my pack, and it did not bother me. The ruthless alpha, the bloody butcher, even the mad alpha. Those who witnessed firsthand what I could do called me the devil. I was the devil. It is affecting our relationship with other packs. Aristo pressed. And the fact that you never attend any of these functions, I suspect, is the reason you have not found your mate yet. I don't need a mate, I snapped. Every now and then, Aristo brought up this topic. If he was not trying to force my face into a woman's breasts, he was berating me for not putting any effort into finding my mate. What use was a mate to a man like me? I had no time to spare for any woman. Alpha Blood was a long way from where I wanted it to be, and having a woman clinging to me was the last thing I needed. You may not need a mate, but the pack needs a Luna, and you need a successor. I am 27. Why do I need a successor so soon? I growled. Your father had you at 19. He reminded me. It took a lot of back and forth, but Aristo argued and argued like a woman until I saw his point. An alliance with Silvermoon was exactly what we needed as a pack, and this would be a quick way to establish a relationship. We would get there on the day of the ceremony and leave the day after. I could spare 2 days to push a relationship. This is annoying me already, Perseus, my wolf, lamented once we touched down on Silvermoon Pack. There was a subtle power shift in the air, and I could feel the essence of the alpha of the pack. On this land, I still remained the most powerful, but he was not far behind. Not as much as it annoying me, I said out loud. Excuse me? The woman welcoming us to the pack paled when she heard my words. Is there anything else? I asked without regard for niceties. She had kept us standing for 5 minutes already with stupid fanfare and an unnecessary long welcome speech. Where was their alpha? Why was this insignificant woman welcoming me? No, not at all, Alpha. She smiled, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. I will show you to your room now. Aristo stood behind me, and I felt the amusement wafting off of him as the woman continued to chatter. The minute I stepped foot into their pack house, my entire body froze. My wolf perked up, and a delicious scent wafted into my nostrils. What is that smell? I looked around but could not find the source. The kitchen staff are putting together the next meal for the feast. You are a bit late, but... I ignored the woman, allowing my legs to carry me to the source of the delicious fragrance, driving my wolf insane. Find it! Find it! He was all but drooling as he paced within. Sir, someone placed a hand on me, but I shrugged it off. Someone said something, but the world around me was fast fading, the scent overtaking my world. What the F***CK is this scent? I pushed open a door to meet utter chaos and 100 different scents assailing my nostrils. The kitchen. It was a mess, but not even 1,000 smells could drown out the one making my nostrils tingle. I am talking to you. A red-haired girl screamed at a smaller girl, and my heart started to pound faster. She was, wow, I have never met anyone more fuckable than this girl, Aristo said from beside me, his eyes on the same woman as me. Mine. My whole being snarled. Here, maybe this will help you come back to your senses. As I watched, the red-haired girl dumped a boiling pot of water on my mate. I heard her scream. I heard myself snarl. You should run. My wolf pushed to the forefront with a snarl. I was forced back into the duties I thought I'd escaped. Yes, forced. A warrior dragged me back to the kitchen, and I got a good scolding from Maria. She did not know I ran away. All she cared about was the perfect execution of the handover ceremony. Nothing else mattered but her reputation as a diligent and dutiful event planner for the Silver Moon Pack. The warrior hung around the kitchen. Every time I came out with a tray, he was there, keeping an eye on me and trailing behind me to make sure I didn't escape. This was Cade's way of ensuring I did what he asked, that I continued to stay back in this wretched pack, acting as his slave for the rest of my life. The thought of how long I would continue like this made my shoulders sag as I carried a stack of plates to the large hall that would soon be open to guests. Today, I was part of the cooking and catering service, so I put on a white shirt and black skirt like all the other Omegas working alongside me. It would be a long day. The official event was scheduled to last for 5 hours. At midnight, we would all watch the initiation ceremony, after which there would be an after-party for the youths to celebrate all night. As my punishment for turning up late today, Maria put me on duty to serve both during the day and at the night party. She must think I did not deserve sleep because of my 1-hour lateness. Move out of my way, Omega. A random girl in the pack shoved past me to get to her friends. They were all dressed in tight-fitting, short gowns with flawless and beautiful makeup covering their faces. Their hair and nails were done, and the girls giggled, admiring themselves as they got together. The three of them looked like dolls, laughing, hugging and giggling. The pack invited several alphas from prominent packs, and these alphas would come with their betas. 1 or 2 people may be lucky enough to find their mates at such a large gathering, and the rest could settle for short flings with powerful men. The girls were dressed to the nines, and the men did not fall too far behind. Everywhere I went, I saw a cluster of dazzling-looking people catching up with friends and excitedly whispering about what alpha or beta they looked forward to seeing the most. Alpha Adrian will be arriving soon, I heard one cluster say as I worked to set up the banquet area. Members of the pack came in to admire the hall's setting before the event started, but none of them volunteered to help out the Omegas who decorated the place they were fawning over. They all walked about in their heels and fancy dress shoes, making the Omegas have to work around them. After setting up the banquet area, I went back to the kitchen to join the others in bringing the food to the hall I had set up. The warrior assigned to make sure I did not escape followed indiscreetly as I went back and forth, not bothering to help me haul plates and food. Have you seen Alpha Dimitri? He and his beta arrived an hour ago. Man, he got my panties wet from one look. A girl sighed, clutching her hands to her chest. He looked at you. Another girl asked, the envy clear in her tone. Forget Alpha Dimitri. I heard Alpha Care will be arriving today. No way will Alpha Care be coming. He always sends his beta to functions like this, but I would not mind though. I have seen pictures of that man and D*MN is he hot. A girl fanned herself. Yeah, beta or alpha, we would be lucky to catch the eye of one of them. I closed my ears against the mindless gossip around me. From girls praying to catch a man's eyes to men betting on snagging one of the daughters accompanying their fathers. The talk started to disgust me, so I allowed my misery to take over me as I worked. Hey you. Someone in the crowd called as I covered the chafing dishes after I was done setting up, only for someone to pull me by the hair. I winced at the sharp pain I felt on my scalp at the tight grip on my head. Who are you to ignore me? I twisted my body to see the person who had such a tight grip on my hair. Did you not hear me call you? She spat out, her green eyes darkening as she glared at me. Avalon, what is it this time? I sighed, trying to pry her hand from my hair. You be *TH. She dragged me closer by my hair. Who are you to speak to me like that? Avalon was one of the few alpha she-wolves around my age in this pack. She had vibrant red hair and dark green eyes, pouty lips, and a tall, slender body. She had the nastiest attitude on anyone I ever met. She was rude to everyone, but she was even ruder to me, and for what? I am sorry, I did not hear you call. What is it you want? I asked in a tired voice. This pack had the ability to drain all of my energy in a short time. I did not know what Avalon wanted from me, but a lot of times, she just wanted to humiliate me to make herself feel better. You need to learn your place. She shoved sharp and pointy nails into my chest, making me stumble back. This is Cade's occasion. I don't want you ruining it for him, she declared. No one on the planet knew that Cade and I were mates, because no one was there when our wolves recognized each other. We were the only ones there when he rejected me, and I accepted his rejection, and I knew darn well the shame of being mated to an Omega like me would never allow him tell anyone. On the other hand, I had no one to tell anything because I had no friends. Yet sometimes I wondered if Avalon knew. She was rude to everyone, but why did she make it a point to pick on me? It made me think she was jealous of me because of Cade, which made no sense as I was rejected already. What makes you think I am ruining it for him? I asked her, tired of her stupid antics, irked by everything. When I am talking to you, you keep quiet. Her palm struck my cheek. My head whipped to the side and stayed like that for a full minute. I didn't even have the strength to cry or fight back. Who are you? Her hand raised again, and I readied myself for another slap, but someone caught her hand midair. That's enough. I raised my head to see Cade staring down at his girlfriend with indifferent eyes. Baby, this be *TCH insulted me. Avalon lowered her hand, her ugly expression morphing into one of sadness and helplessness. I was just trying to teach her a lesson. She sniffed. Leave this place. He addressed me with cold eyes. And make yourself scarce throughout this event. He pulled his girlfriend with him. The event will start in 30 minutes. He announced to the crowd watching the drama unfold. I exited the hall behind them, feeling nothing but fatigue deep in my bones. After the incident, Maria took me off the list of people to serve in the hall, placing me in the kitchen to wash the dishes and join the preparation for the night party. The party was in full swing now. All the sounds in the pack house had migrated to the hall, and I could hear bits and pieces of what was happening in there. I and a number of other girls were working in the ginormous pack kitchen when Avalon walked in, her heels clicking on the ground. A few people turned to greet her, but she ignored all of them, walking towards me with purpose shining in her eyes. I knew a confrontation was underway, and it involved me the minute the door opened, and she walked in. High-ranked people like Avalon did not enter the kitchen for any reason. They always had Omegas to serve them. Stay away from my boyfriend, she snarled as she came to stand behind me. I pretended she was not talking to me. Aside from her rudeness, Avalon had a flair for drama, and she did not know now was not the best time for drama. No matter how much Cade doted on her, how did she think he would react to her causing trouble on a day so important to him? Are you deaf, or do you think you have a chance with him because you have huge breasts? She sneered. I ignored the urge to look down at my chest. I was curvy, but nothing about my breast was huge. I am talking to you. She poked my shoulder as a cool feeling washed over me. Home never had a scent to me, but the scent I perceived next made me feel at home. Here, maybe this will help you return to your senses. Avalon's words faded from my existence as I turned. Mate! My wolf howled one word as I turned to see a man filling the doorway. Before I had time to process the new revelation, scalding hot liquid poured from my head, roasting my skin. You should run. Those were the words I heard, but they sounded like, you are dead, considering the harsh voice that spoke them and the growling that followed.